AFC North, we are back. Ethan, kick us off.
Okay, Ravens 2 seed, 12-5. Bengals 5 seed, 11-6. Browns 7 seed, 10-7. Steelers missing the playoffs at 9-8.
All right,
Oh boy.
we got some things to talk about.
I know.
Baltimore Ravens 11-6, third in the AFC. Cincinnati Bengals 10-7, sixth in the AFC. Pittsburgh Steelers 9-8. Cleveland Browns 9-8.
All right. Baltimore Ravens 13-4. Cincinnati Bengals 11-6. Cleveland Browns 9-8. Pittsburgh Steelers 7-10. I will preface right now that the Steelers having that low wins just because their schedule is awful. And now we can go.
Okay.
Ravens.
What do we want to do? We want to start in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Start them all. That's the
Okay.
easiest one.
Okay. Do you want to start this time?
They're going to be great.
They're going to be awesome. It's mostly the same team from last year.
No more Odell.
Except for Odell, like if you lose Odell, whatever, like you're getting a year of development for Zay Flowers, who at times showed flashes of being amazing.
You know, I didn't even put Odell on my key departure.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, it doesn't matter.
Sunk that low. Jeez.
But like, you added Derrick Henry, though. Like, what is
Yeah,
what is already?
You
like,
added the
really
best
good-
runner with the best running quarterback in the history of the sport.
with like one of the most dominant running backs you've ever seen. Like, this is gonna be epic.
Yeah.
Like, and defense is still gonna be great. Like, I would keep it short and sweet. They're gonna be good.
Yeah, and you get more Mark Andrews injured last year.
Mm-hmm.
You add Nate Wiggins, Clemson legend.
Absolutely.
Let's see, didn't they added Eddie Jackson? That was a guy. Like,
They did that, Eddie Jackson.
They did add Jackson.
they brought back Madubuike, and their losses were like they're significant, but it's not to a point where like I'm like down on them because
Because they
you
got
lose Geno
Henry.
Stone to the Bengals, who I like. You lose Zeitler to the Lions, which is significant. Patrick Queen goes to the Steelers. Respectfully, kind of a Roquan Smith merchant, if we're being honest. Jadeveon Clowney went to the Panthers. Dobbins to the Chargers. But you place J.K. Dobbins with Derrick Henry. And running back has sort of been a revolving door for years, unless you want to make the Lamar joke. Yeah, and Gus Edwards too went to L.A. because, you really want to be with, who's their OC came from Baltimore.
Greg Rowan.
Yeah, he sucks. He sucks.
But like, you got Derrick Henry, and also like,
you have
hopefully
a top
like,
3 quarterback. You have probably a top 5 at least defense.
and you have like, if you're looking at backup running backs, like if Keaton Mitchell is able to like stay healthy this year, like Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, he was great last year.
He was really
When he
solid
played.
last year when he was healthy. So I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
Defense will still be great.
Yeah.
You have much more to add on.
I actually do.
Whatever.
As far as this offensive line, I'm a little worried.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried. They did draft Roger Rosengarten, who I like a lot.
Washington,
He's pretty versatile guy, a little undersized, but I have some conflicting thoughts about losing a guy like Zeitler, who is such a staple on this line, and I think the line was something that really helped carry this to be one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. I trust their development because it's Baltimore, so I'm not going to question how it looks
10 years.
in the very future. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think early in the season, that could be a struggle. On the same end, defensively losing Mike McDonald
Yeah, it's big.
is
It's big.
very big.
Yeah.
And having a first-time coordinator in the building, also very big for a Ravens defense that hasn't really had that kind of turnover. So I'm a little nervous about that.
They'll still be really
But I think they'll still be really good. I love that they got Mazubuke back. I still have them winning 11 games. I think they're going to be just as solid as they were last year. I still think come playoff time, they're still going to be viewed as up there with Kansas City in the top contenders of the AFC. I just think it might take a little time to get there.
Yeah. All right, Cincinnati.
Yep.
Okay, I said 11 wins. What did Mike say 11?
I said 11. You said 11 too.
I said 10.
Yes,
So
10.
I think we're bringing you. So.
Yeah, I think they'll be good. I don't think they'll be great. This is not the 2021 miracle team that kicked their way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But and I know they lost DJ Reader, who was like the sort of bedrock of the interior. And secondary
Pretty good
is
Geno
fine.
Luna and Arumo to lose their safeties last offseason. That
Dusty
was
Bates, yeah.
so key towards, kind of how this defense kind of devolved over the second half of the 2023 season. Because they just simply weren't able to hold up on the back end with, what's been kind of a middling pass rush, let's be honest. Over
Think
the
about
past
Sheldon
couple
Rank.
of
I was
years.
thinking about Sheldon Rank. It's not.
You're saying Trey
Geno
Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, and Miles Murphy are
Yeah,
bad?
they haven't been able to acquire the depth.
Trey
on
Hendrickson
their
is like
pass
Trey
rush.
Hendrickson is one of the
Trey
best
Hendrickson
edge rushers
is
in
incredible,
football.
but they have consistently had to expend draft picks on guys like Joseph Asai, on Miles Murphy, who haven't really showed up immediately in the way that they've looked for. So
Miles
it really
Murphy
has
was
just
a rookie
been
last year.
It really has just been Hendrickson on that pass rush. Sam Hubbard is kind of similar in that way.
Yeah, I mean,
and
Miles
so-
Murphy's still a rookie. What are you looking for? Me, I mean, like 30th pick in the draft. I don't know what you're
This is
looking for
this is a
immediately.
win now team.
Yeah, but they might
and-
win now. They have he has a whole year under his belt. He's gonna be a solid end this
He
year.
might
Like
be.
I don't know what you
He
expect
might
of
be.
right
I
now.
don't know how to view it, and I think there's a lot of youth in that secondary. I liked DJ Turner a lot out of
Yeah.
college. He did not show last year. He was bad.
Cam Taylor Britt's cool.
Cam Taylor Britt was probably the best player in the secondary last
But just
year.
saying something.
Even he
Yeah.
had his struggles at times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but like the Bengals have been doing this since 2020.
Oh, I know. I
Like,
know.
awful defense. Like, they're just they're just scoring more.
I trust Big Lou. I think the offense is going to be better because they added, depth in terms of weight, literally.
Yeah.
Amarius Mims is
Trent
there. They
Brown.
add Trent Brown, who's going to be great. They get rid of Jonah Williams. Thank God, he was pretty bad last year. So
The running back situation is questionable.
I
It
love
is, I'm
it.
not.
I love it.
You
It's
love
like-
it.
I really like Zach Moss.
Okay.
I think what he did.
I think Zach Moss is good, but
I think what he did in the absence of Jonathan
I like
Taylor
Chase
last year
Brown.
was really good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
you got
obviously,
Chase
like-
Brown. Yeah, like I think he could still
Yeah.
match Joe Mixon's
Yeah.
production with Chase Brown and Zach Moss
Yeah.
combined.
And I mean, you still get at least one more year now of Jamar and Higgins.
yeah,
That could be more. They haven't actually re-signed Higgins yet, but they gave him. A little
they
bit
haven't
more.
re-signed Higgins. Jamar is also up for a new deal. They have not re-signed him yet. There are rumors of him holding out.
He's not gonna hold
So I don't think he will either.
I don't think he will. Not if I think if Joe Burrow wasn't his quarterback, he'd hold out. But I
Yeah.
think just because there's that little bit of connection there.
Yeah, I just
And I also think Joe Burrow is like set to have borderline MVP season after last year. I'm not. He's not my MVP pick, but
I wanted to come in and be all in on this team because they won 9 games without Joe
With
Burrow. And looking at the depth chart and looking at them defensively, I didn't feel that same way. So I have them winning 10.
Yeah.
But I wanted to look at them and say, hey, this is the team that I picked to win the Super Bowl last year. And I don't really feel the same way.
yeah.
So
I can feel that way.
They're like a tier above Miami. Like they're
Yeah.
they're gonna be a good team.
Yep.
They're gonna make the playoffs.
Yep.
They're not gonna win.
They're a contender, but they play their best football when it mattered. Like the last 2 years, they played their best football in
yeah,
January.
definitely.
That you dominated your way, not dominated, but like you beat the 2022 or 2021, 2022, whatever. You beat the Raiders in Vegas. It was in Vegas, right? Didn't the Raiders? No, wait, no, it was in Cincinnati because there's no way the Raiders
Yeah.
won the division. But you still beat what was the best Raiders team we've seen in like last 10 years. You walked into Tennessee and shut down Derrick Henry completely, and then you walked into Kansas City and
Yeah.
and you made them look like babies, and you single-handedly kicked Tyreek Hill out of Kansas City.
Yeah.
And then year after, I don't really remember the exact road to the playoffs, but I do remember them. Almost they beat didn't they beat the crap out of the Bills in the
Yep.
playoffs?
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
remember the wild card game, but they probably
No.
they probably dominated that one too. And then you play a 3-point game against the defending Super Bowl champs.
The championship DNA is there. I just thinking analytically. I have questions. They also lose Brian Callahan. We didn't really touch on it. I don't know what Brian Callahan's role was, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
liked what the Bengals did a lot over the second half of the season.
I feel like that was a lot. In my opinion, I think that was a lot more Zach Taylor.
I might have been, because, and I hope it was, and I hope it carries over, because how they built that offense around Jake Browning and making it easy for him with kind of that pro-style RPO offense.
Yeah.
I think we should see more of that with Joe Burrow.
I think we will. I honestly think Joe Burrow is really good. I mean, you're looking at my screen right now, so you know how I feel.
I know how you feel, and we're gonna talk about it in a bit. But yeah, I think there's definitely pros and cons there.
Okay. Speaking of cons, Browns.
Yeah.
So there's a
what you got 10-7. I got
10-7.
9-8. He's got 9-8.
They're the first seed.
Okay, so I was a 7 seed, I think.
I think I have them as like the
first one out.
I have them as the 10 seed.
They're my 10 seed too, but I had like 5 teams going 9-8. So.
Actually, 11 seed. 11 seed.
So quarterback number 4 is not good. That's just the reality of the situation. But it's not. He doesn't have to be Tua, because Tua's actually competent.
Yep.
I don't think Deshaun Watson's even competent anymore. He's borderline. Like he's
a
if they want to play Jameis, sure at this point.
Yep.
That's really how bad it's gotten.
Yep.
But when you have a full season of Nick Chubb, which I really hope they do, I feel like that's not going to happen.
The reports are not good.
Yeah, I feel like he's sort of hitting his Todd Gurley slide as far as his health and availability.
Yeah.
But you add Jerry Jeudy, which I don't think is that significant. But
He's been awful.
adding depth to the receiver room, you lose DPJ, you add him, and then you still have Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is fully back.
Yeah.
And then you have top 3 defense in the league.
And you're not gonna have anything to show for it.
Yeah, they won't.
I think
that defense, it's what what y'all are thinking about the Jets. Like you're saying the defense. Well, Adam specifically.
Yeah.
Like you're so high on the defense. That's how I am with the Browns.
Really?
But they're winning it's 10 games, and I think they gave the Jets 9.
Okay.
Like it's just because their division is. I mean, I think I had the Jets getting swept by the Bills.
So you're saying you're lower on the Browns defense?
No. I'm high. I'm high on the Browns defense.
Yeah,
like you are on the Jets defense.
Yeah. I feel that. I think the Browns defense is the best defense in football.
Yeah.
So I'm with you there. My concerns with the Browns are entirely on the other side of the ball, and in their schedule. If you think about it, and you think about how this Jim Schwartz defense has worked over the past couple years, it's not that it's it is the best defense in football when it's playing on all standards, but they did not have to face the amount of quality starting quarterbacks last year.
They did not have to face C.J. Stroud in the regular
season last year. They did not have to face.
You saw what happened with the playoffs.
They play C.J. Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson twice, Justin Herbert,
Joe Burrow
twice. It goes on and on and on, and the biggest critique about the Jim Schwartz defense is that it's constantly in base, and that great smart quarterbacks are able to figure it out and pick it apart within the actual zones. So
like the way C.J. Stroud did in 8 minutes.
Yeah. So I don't have questions about the defense itself. I have questions. Jim, how are you going to adjust? And I think he did in 2017. I haven't seen Jim have to do it since 2017. So I think that's going to be a question. Offensively, this is a train wreck. Chubb, I really don't think is going to be ready. I made my 9-8 prediction on the assumption that he will probably not be ready until at least mid-season if he plays this year. That's what it sounds like coming out of camp. What I've heard last week was he wasn't even running yet. So that does not sound good to me. This line, it's good. It's getting old. And I think that's
John Conklin at the time was the best tackle in football.
He was. I think he's around 32 years old right now.
Right,
So
2017
Tony was
it just continues to be around number 4 in his salary and what it brings to the rest of this team and how they can invest their resources. And they can't. And it really sucks to say it because they drafted really well
Yep.
They've allocated said resources, I would argue, pretty
The
well.
ones they have.
The ones they have, it's just continues to eat and eat and eat, and it will eventually devour them. I think, give it a year or two.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
think this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Well, I think the beginning of the end was the wild card game last year. I think we set them in the rotating hell.
Yeah.
Every minute that passes by, it becomes like it's starting to become way more apparent that the Deshaun Watson trade is going to go down as the worst trade in NFL history.
Yeah.
Especially
Other
when,
than-
especially
I mean,
when you
Herschel
look at,
Walker gave the Cowboys a dynasty, but like that's the only comparable.
especially when
Yeah, because that was like a one of the most like desperate moves in like sports history. So
but like yeah, and then like
Well, I would
especially
argue-
when you look at how good Baker was last year.
Yeah.
And like I will say this until I die, they never should have gotten rid of him.
yeah, there was no need to.
He played through like a gruesome shoulder injury in 2020. Was bad.
Yeah.
They still won 8 games, and they were like, "All right, okay, bye."
Yeah.
And that was the stupidest. That was the most Browns decision they ever made. And then they traded for a guy who didn't play for a year, suspended for 11 games, came back, and then he was just continuously shit all of last year.
Yep.
Like, it's awful. I know I'm not as high on the O-line as you guys are. I do think it's the best defense in football still. Nick Chubb is not, even if he plays this year, he's not going to be anything what he used to be. Amari Cooper could regress and just hit the floor at any point. I mean, he's been consistently great. He's going to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver, but
But has he been consistently great? That's even
Yeah,
my
yeah,
issue.
yeah.
yeah, no, he's
I-
absolutely been
I
consistently
think
great. He's been putting up.
consistently great as far as like look at a stat sheet, but on a week by week basis, I think any time Amari Cooper has played an elite defense over the past year and a half, the guy's kind of disappeared.
I don't agree.
Um,
Well, yeah, I mean, you could also look at his quarterback play. last
Yeah,
year.
I know.
Yeah, you're playing with DTR and Joe Flacco.
Jerry Jeudy sucks. Elijah Moore sucks. End of story.
Yeah.
Jerry Judy just sucks.
Jerry Jeudy's not a good wide receiver.
Let's not go there.
If you Mr. Film, go watch the Jerry Jeudy film.
I know it's
That man does not make any separation at all. He has average hands.
Leave me alone. I was a Jerry Judy truther in my
Dude,
in my
I
prime.
would have if it was any Alabama player's jersey I would buy. I would have bought a Jerry Jeudy jersey. So, welcome to the club,
Yeah.
Steelers.
Speaking of bad former Broncos, Steelers.
Yeah, right. The quarterback situation is just like so
It's
confusing.
a nightmare.
It's somehow better than it was last year.
Which is the lowest possible bar, probably. Other
like
than like the Jets.
I have them winning 7 games only because I think their schedule is ridiculous. I think it's going to be that same thing. They're going to score 14 points a game, and they're going to somehow come out of the game. They're going to somehow like sweep the Bengals. They're gonna beat the Ravens once because it just happens. And John Harbaugh can't seem to figure out how to sweep the. I don't have a lot of worry. It's the most boring football team ever. You added Patrick Queen. You're gonna have a good defense. T.J. Watt exists, and you're continuously wasting him. Like, I don't have much to say. They're boring. The offense sucks. The defense is good. I think we've been here on now. What, like, this is like the 4th team we've talked about. Bad offense, good defense.
That's just what it is, though.
That's what it is.
That's what Mike Tomlin's been able to do ever since Ben retired.
And like, if you sat here and told me the Steelers made the playoffs, though, like,
Yeah.
I just wouldn't be shocked because Mike Tomlin's one of the best head coaches ever at this point.
Because they've had winning records with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph.
And like the latter half of Ben Roethlisberger, which literally looked like me running out there playing quarterback for my JV high school team. Like,
You know what? 2 weeks ago, I was really excited about this team, guys. 2
And
weeks
then you
ago,
saw them play.
I
You
was
saw the quarterbacks
all
play.
in. And yes, then I saw the quarterbacks play. But think about what
and
they did
I,
this
like
offseason.
I'm not judging preseason football. Like, if we judge preseason football, Daniel Jones would have 8 rings.
It's just
in 6 years.
it's just put a stank in my mouth. And I really love this defense. I do think they are going to regress a little bit this year. I think they got kind of, top tier pressure rates in kind of unusual ways, and I don't know if that's going to carry over next year. But I think Joey Porter showed himself to be an absolute stud last year.
We all knew this.
I'm going to count that as one of my wins.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Minka Fitzpatrick continues to be fantastic. I think that back end is going to be a lot better. And guess what, guys? They got a linebacker. We can stop complaining now. Oh my God. He'll be fine. He was fine last year if you watch the film.
He'll be anywhere
outside of Roquan Smith.
He'll be anywhere from an average to
He'll be
solid.
average. Yeah, he'll
But
be an
it
average
depends on the
linebacker.
week. He'll never be bad, but
No.
he'll be out there. He'll make good tackles.
Yeah.
He'll be decent in zone coverage.
He is a body, which is much better than they had before.
That's better than
Um,
Alex Highsmith.
I think this is the team that a year from now, when we look down the road, we are gonna say, okay, maybe this is the time because one, I think they're gonna have an answer to the quarterback situation finally if this year goes the way how we might think it might, and two, think about how they invested in the offensive line this year in the draft.
It was
These
so
are guys,
they did great.
They did a great job, but these are all guys who I think they're going to be a year away. Valtanu, Frazier, McCormick. These are all guys who I think are guys who are going to make a difference in the future. So
Yeah, and
I love.
I'm also,
the
but
future.
yeah, I'm not completely giving up on Justin Fields yet because I don't judge preseason.
Because he won a game
I
last
don't
year,
either.
somehow.
He won games for
But-
the Bears last year. I'm not writing him off. I understand he's looked bad in the
I
preseason.
just.
But
watch-
I'm not. No, yes, I understand watching it. If you judge CJ Stroud on how he played in the preseason last year,
I
you
know.
would think he belongs in the XFL. So I'm shutting the argument down. It's a stupid
Okay.
argument. I don't judge people on preseason football. I understand where you're coming
I
from.
know.
I'm not completing right now. But if he's bad the first 3 weeks, I won't be surprised.
Yeah.
If he's good, I will not be surprised.
Yeah.
If he's it's whatever.
Yeah.